let me ask you something that no one ever asked you directly. Are you really in love with him or with who he could become once he's healed, once he's grown up, and once he finally chooses you the way that you deserve? You see the potential, but you keep waiting, you keep hoping, you keep giving, you keep explaining. But what you don't realize is that you're not stuck in a love story. You're actually just stuck in a loop. A loop that didn't start with him, that actually started way before him. A loop that started in your childhood and with your childhood version of love. Today I'm going to explain why you keep falling for potential instead of what is real, and how to finally break the pattern and make space for love that meets you now and not maybe later. So let's get into it. Falling for potential is often a mirror of your own disowned dreams. So many women that fall for potential, they are unconsciously projecting their own unlived potential onto that other person. They see his depth, they see his talent, they see his sensitivity, not just because he has it, but because they are disconnected from their own. This often happens to high achieving women who have suppressed their softness, their creativity, or their need for safety. And they did that to succeed in the masculine world, right? They end up being attracted to emotionally unavailable partners or to chaotic partners because that partner reflects both their neglected emotional needs and their hidden desire to be softer, to be more creative, to be more feminine, because they are stuck in a masculine world. They feel magnetized to that person not because of who he is, but because of what he represents. He represents a lost part of themselves. That pattern is rewarding you with a false sense of identity. Fixing or rescuing someone gives you a false sense of significance, especially if your childhood self believed that love had to be earned through performance or through sacrifice. There is a theory called schema theory that explains how people with self-sacrifice or unrelenting standards schemas, these people are more likely to attract partners that they can help, that they can build, that they can save, because it validates their identity as the capable one, the healer, the good one, the one that is able to fix and be there for you, the one that is the fixer. But the problem is that staying in fixer dynamics might feel for you as love. It might feel for your childhood self as love, but it's actually just a trauma reenactment that it keeps you basically in control of the other person, and it keeps you in control of that partner while you're disconnected from yourself. You do that because it makes you feel in control, but you don't understand that at the same time you are not in control of yourself. You're recreating incomplete emotional cycles. According to object relations theory, we seek to resolve early childhood bonds, early childhood relationships by recreating them now in our adulthood. And we are hoping now for a different ending. So for example, if your father was very emotionally distant and all you wanted was this closeness, you might be now drawn towards emotionally unavailable men and emotionally distant men, hoping that this time it will be different and hoping that finally this time you will be chosen. But what is really happening here is that your inner child is looking for closure, is not looking for a partnership. It's safer to chase potential than it is to face intimacy. Some women don't fall for potential because they are naive. They fall for it because real intimacy actually terrifies them. Real emotional availability will mean being seen. It will mean being vulnerable. It will mean risking rejection from someone who's actually present. So if intimacy feels scary or unfamiliar, it is easier for you to be with someone that you have to fix, to be with someone that who is not ready, to be with someone that keeps you waiting. Because deep down, that feels less threatening to you than real intimacy and actual closeness. You saying, oh, I see his potential, it could actually be a form of spiritual bypassing. A lot of women that can be in self-improvement and spirituality, they can actually overemphasize someone's soul potential and use that as a way to bypass and to ignore any red flags that are actually right in front of their nose. They can ignore the red flags, they can ignore incompatibility, they can even ignore harmful behavior towards them, and they're thinking that this means that they're being evolved, that this means that they're patient and kind and loving. And this is just a form of spiritualized denial. You're simply using compassion as a mask of your unmet emotional needs and as a mask of your low self-worth. You believe that by allowing those red flags and by allowing that bad behavior towards you, you think that you're being compassionate. You think that you are being more kind and loving and understanding of that person, but you're actually using it as a mask for your low self-worth and your inability to believe that you deserve real love. A person that shows up for you without any behavior that could hurt you. So instead of asking who could they become the person that I want them to be, ask yourself instead, can I actually emotionally thrive in a relationship like this as it is? If you can't, then this will tell you a lot. Your nervous system might be addicted to the chase. So from a somatic perspective, a lot of women can be addicted unknowingly to dopamine spikes that are coming from inconsistent behavior and from inconsistent affection. So basically there is a loop here. When somebody pulls back and then they come back, when they come back, your brain gets rewarded. It gets validated. It gets the dopamine spike again. Okay, wait, I'm safe. I am okay. I don't have to worry. And because your brain gets rewarded, it gets even more attached to that person, needing it to make you feel safe, to make you feel like your dopamine has raised again, has spiked again. And this cycle can be very emotionally exhausting, but at the same time, it is neurologically addictive, especially if you grew up with emotional inconsistency, because that's exactly the cycle that you have been addicted to and used to since childhood. So healing this will require nervous system regulation and not just having mindset shifts. You might be understanding what I'm telling you and maybe your mindset could be shifted. But what you need to do is to go deeper into your nervous system and to be able to self-regulate it. The deeper fear here is, what if no one else comes? Staying with potential often is not even about love. It's about scarcity. It's about that deep unconscious belief that says that if I leave, maybe I will end up alone. Even if you're a high-achieving, emotionally intelligent woman, you can hold on to this belief if you have never felt chosen, if your standards have been unmet for way too long, and if your social conditioning has linked your relationship status with your self-worth. And this belief simply clings you to someone that could love you instead of someone who actually does. And finally, you don't trust you are enough without effort. A lot of women who might fall for potential might unconsciously believe that they have to earn love by helping someone to grow or by helping someone evolve. And that's the problem. You don't know how to just be loved, how to simply rest, be met by someone. When I say be met, let your standards be met, and to receive love. And the reason for that is because you've been wired for too long to believe that if I am not working, if I am not healing, if I am not helping, then I'm not worth staying for. Your nervous system is addicted to effort. Your nervous system is addicted to work, to exhaustion for love. You don't know what the word effortless means. You don't know what the word effortless and restfulness means when it comes to love. These are completely unfamiliar concepts for you when it comes to love. So girls, if this hits home for you, I want you to know that first of all, you are not alone. And second of all, you are not broken. You have simply been taught how to work for love instead of receiving it. And that's exactly why I have created my journal, to help you, guide you through the exact patterns, beliefs, and self-worth blocks that keep you chasing potential. You are going to find some very powerful prompts that will allow you to get some very powerful reflections on this subject, that will allow you to finally feel safe to receive love that is real, that is reciprocal, and that is effortless. You will never settle for potential again once you know that the real thing, that true, whole, and complete love is out there for you. The truth that no one taught us is that love doesn't need to be earned. Love doesn't need to be waited on. And love should never leave you guessing. So if you've been choosing potential over peace, fantasy over reality, it's not because you are broken, but it's because your inner child has learned to survive by overgiving and by hoping hard that someone will finally change for them. My point today was to teach you that you don't have to play that role anymore. You can become the version of you who receives, the version of you who is chosen, not because of how much help you are for someone, but just because you exist. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.